Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in the Quran Summaries by Maulana Sayyid Abul Maududi, Rah'ma'tul'laah, in his wonderful book, the Tafhim al-Quran, the meaning of the Quran. And today we are busy with chapter Surah number 89, known as Surah al-Fajr, also known as the dawn, right? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Nice to see you there. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. And let's start today. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Right. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Let's look at the name of the surah. The surah is designated with the word wal fajr, and that's how it opens. The period of revelation. The contents of this chapter show that it was revealed at the stage when the persecution of the new converts to Islam, the new reverts or the new converts, had begun in Mecca itself. On that very basis, the people of Mecca have been warned of the evil end of the tribes of Ad and Thamud and of Pharaoh. Now remember, in those days, the Ad and the Thamud tribe were very, very powerful tribes. They were like today's superpowers. They were like America and Britain and China and Russia and Germany and Japan and so on. They were like the G7 nations, very, very powerful tribes in those times. But because these tribes at one time, they were very, very wealthy, extremely wealthy, even the people of Pharaoh, very, very wealthy, very powerful. But when any nation, and history has shown that any nation that moves away from God, that moves away from the spiritual dimension, they turn to moral decay and spiritual bankruptcy. The inner core starts disintegrating and it collapses upon itself, and that society then collapses. The minute you leave God out of the equation, you are looking for problems, because that society is looking for its downfall. Right, so let's look at the theme and the subject matter. The theme is to affirm the meting out of rewards and punishment in the hereafter. That means in the hereafter, based on the deeds that you have done, rewards will be dished out and the levels of punishment will be dished out depending on ranks. Each one will be in different ranks. There are thousands and thousands of ranks of goodness and thousands of ranks of punishment, right? So there's all various scales, which the people of Mecca were not prepared to acknowledge. They said there's no such thing like that, right? And some people today are also saying that, sadly, to their own folly and to their own fate. Let us consider the reasonings in the order in which it has been presented in this very chapter. Right. First of all, swearing oaths by the dawn, then oaths by the 10 nights, then oaths by the even and the odd, then an oath by the departing night. So a lot of oaths. This verse, when the Quran makes an oath, it's very serious. It means something very serious is about to be said. The subject of this oath is that the listeners have been asked, are these things not enough? Like, use your head, use your intelligence, right? Are these things not enough to testify to the truth, to the haqq of that which you are refusing to believe? You don't acknowledge this, but can't you look around you? Why don't you use your intelligence? Think for a while, think, right? So are these things not enough to testify to the truth which you are refusing to acknowledge? From the explanation that we have given of these 4 things in the corresponding notes, it will become clear that these things are a symbol of the regularity that exists in the day and the night. And the swearing of oaths by these, the question has been asked in the sense, even after witnessing this wise system, for example, the alternation of the night and the day, precision, for 4.5 billion years, the earth is spinning 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours. The earth doesn't say one day, hey, I'm tired of spinning, man. Hey, man. Hey, it's very tiring, man. Hey, I'm spinning and I'm spinning and I'm spinning for million years of years. Hey, now I'm tired. The earth doesn't say that. The earth doesn't say today I'm going to stop spinning. Because if the day the earth stops spinning, half the earth will be boiling hot and the other half of the earth will be freezing cold. So who is making sure that the earth is spinning precisely for 4.5 billion years? Spinning. Okay, from a scientific and mathematical point of view, we know that, okay, the earth is slowing down very, very slowly, microsecond, every few centuries or so, but that's irrelevant. We're just talking about the concept, right? So there is the regularity that exists in the night and the day, and the swearing oaths by these, the question has been asked in the sense, even after witnessing this wise system established by God, do you still need any other evidence to show that it is not beyond the power of God who has brought about the system to establish the hereafter? Do you still deny that God doesn't have the power to recreate you back to life? Are you that ignorant? And that it is a very requirement of His wisdom that He should call mankind to account. That's an absolute guarantee. How can man be left to their own wills and fancies on this earth? They can commit crime they want to, they can commit sins they want to without accountability? No, there's no moral sense in that. Where's the justice? Where's the divine justice that man was killed? His body has been buried, no one knows about it. That woman was raped and killed, her body has been buried or chopped up and thrown into the ocean, no one knows about it. Where's the justice for that victim? Where's the justice when one nation is invading another nation, killing their people, stealing their resources, using rape as a weapon of war, dropping on them, whether it's cluster bombs or chemical weapons or nuclear weapons, whatever it is. There's got to be a day of justice for everybody. For everybody, right? So then, reasoning from man's own history, the evil end of the odd, these mighty nations, the first world powers known as the odd first world power, the superpower, the Thamud, the superpower, and the people of Pharaoh, the superpower, has been cited as examples to show that the day that they transgressed all the limits of righteous and morality and ethics and integrity, and they multiplied corruption upon corruption and mischief on the earth, Allah most merciful, God the Creator Supreme, laid down upon them the scourge of His chastisement, which they were denying. And these nations are now in the ruins of history. You can only see their archaeological remnants, and archaeologists go nicely to see, hey, we found a piece of pottery, we found a little tooth fragment, or we found a skull of this person, but they are digging into the past of superpowers who are now in the dust, in the what they call it, in the annals of time. This is the proof of the fact that the system of the universe is not being run by deaf and blind forces, nor is the world a lawless kingdom of a corrupt ruler, but instead the world, the universe, is the kingdom of a wise ruler, a kind ruler, a loyal and very loving ruler who gives you time to think. But when your time is up, you can never return back to this earth, because if you fail to open the Quran and read it, if you fail to understand the truth, if you fail to question yourself, what is the meaning of life, what is the purpose of life, who created me, where did I come from, what happens when I die, what happens in the grave, why is there suffering in the world, if you don't ponder over these questions, you'll find the answers in the Quran. So open the Quran. My appeal to the non-Muslims who are viewing this, our non-Muslim visitors to this channel, please get a copy of the Quran today and read it. The day you die, when you meet God, and you will meet God, that's an absolute guarantee. Even the atheists will meet God. That's absolute. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that, right? Then it will be a lifetime of eternity of regret. You will then ask yourself a question: why didn't I just get a copy of that Quran? I could have read it. I could have read it, then I would have understood. Then I wouldn't have been in this situation. Please get a copy today. Put it on your bucket list. Ask any Muslim. They will be happy to give you a copy of the Quran. Contact any Muslim organization or contact any mosque. Get it. There's some etiquette you need to follow when you get the Quran. First, remember that this is the word of your Creator. Your entity who created you these are His words. So don't use the word God or anything. Just speak to the Creator Supreme. Say, oh my Creator, you have created me, or say someone has created me. I am talking to you who have created me. I'm now opening your divine book. Please guide me to the wisdom therein. So you need to have purity of mind and purity of body. So first you go to the bathroom, take a shower, or you have a bubble bath, whatever you feel. Put some candles, put some rose petals, put some perfume. Have a nice long bubble bath, or take a shower. After you finish shower, put some perfume on yourself. Make sure you brush your teeth nicely. Everything must be smelling fragrant in your whole body. Make sure you trim your nails, everything. Then you open the Quran. And so that's purification of the body. The second thing you need to do is purify your brain. Because remember, the media has put your brain in the cage. They've told you lies and falsehood about Islam and about the Quran and and about the Muslims and all sort of lies and misinformation. So for a moment when you are reading the Quran, suspend all your discrimination and your prejudice, because you have never ever searched to find out the truth. That is the media telling the truth or a lie. So now you say, okay, when I'm going to approach the Quran, I'm going to approach it with a clear mind. And the Quran says that the media has put your brain in the cage, and the only way, the key for this cage is reading. Then you open the Quran and you start reading it, and you take a pencil and things that you like. For example, there's absolutely definitely something you'll like in the Quran, right? You'll like, for example, it says honor your parents. Isn't that something good? The Quran says look after the poor, the widows, the orphans. Isn't that something good? Quran encourages you to be a kind person. Isn't that something good? Quran encourages you to have good manners. Isn't that something good? The Quran tells you to have the best of character, which includes the best of morals, manners, ethics, personal integrity, all of that. Isn't that good? Right, so you underline those things that are nice. If you don't understand anything, you put a question mark and you continue reading. That is the beginning of your search for the quest for the truth. Please, please, please do this. Don't end up in the grave and then you'll spend eternity in regret. Please do me that one favor, right? So after this, an appraisal has been made of the general moral state of the human society, of which Arab paganism was a conspicuous example. Two aspects of it in particular have been criticized. First, the materialistic attitude of people, where they are deeply absorbed in consumerism and materialism, on account of which, overlooking the moral good and evil, they do not care how they get the money. They can harm people, they do not care. They don't care about morals and ethics, right? They regarded only the achievement of worldly wealth, rank and position, or the absence of it, as the only criterion of honor or disgrace. And they had forgotten that neither their riches was a reward, nor is poverty a punishment, but that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God most merciful, is testing people in both the condition. When people got a lot of money, they are being tested. When people don't have a lot of money, they are being tested. Both types of people are being tested. Right, and in both the condition to see what is the attitude and response of the person which that person adopts when blessed with a lot of wealth. Do they become arrogant and boastful and stingy? And how does a person behave when afflicted by poverty? Right, so those are how people are being tested. Secondly, the people's attitude under which the orphan child in their society was left destitute on the death of the father. Nobody asked after the poor, whoever could or usurp the entire heritage left by the deceased parents, and drove away the weak heirs fraudulently. So this was a lawless society where the poor, the orphans, the widows were trampled upon, and Islam came to say, no, you don't steal them, you don't put them at a disadvantage. You must honor the rights of the woman, honor the rights of the poor, honor the rights of the orphan, and so on, the helpless, the weak, the disabled, the sick, and so on, right, the elderly. The people were so afflicted with an insatiable greed for wealth. They only wanted money, 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 that they were never ever satisfied, however much they might hoard and amass. The more money they got, the more greedy they became, the more the stingy they became, the more they started hiding the money away. This criticism is meant to make them realize as to why the people with such an attitude and conduct in the life of this world should not be called to account for their misdeeds. So it's an absolute guarantee and a warning to them that whatever you are doing in harming society to get your money, you will be held to account for it. You may be flying high in your private jets and doing this and doing that in your designer clothes and your jewelry and so on, your designer bags, but ask yourself the question, how did you earn it? Have you earned it honorably? And if you are a member of parliament, have you just taken the taxpayers' money and just sitting in parliament without using your brains, without helping the country? If you are just sitting there as a chair warmer to warm the chair and not doing anything else, you will be held to account for it. Rather, resign for that position and give that position over to someone else who can do a better job than you. If you don't do it, guaranteed on the day of judgment, you will be brought to shame in front of the entire public, right? The discourse in conclusion, the discourse has been concluded with the assertion that accountability shall certainly be held, and it will be held on the day of judgment within the royal divine court. At that time, the deniers of the judgment will understand that which they were not understanding now in spite of instruction and admonition, but understanding then they will understand, but then it will be too late. The denier will have immense regrets. The disbelievers, the atheists, agnostics will be in shame and total regret and say, Oh, would that I had provided for this day. Would that I had taken the time to understand this day of judgment beforehand while I was still alive. Why didn't I just take a few minutes or a few days or a few years just to understand the reality of the life? Why didn't I do that? Why? But then it'll be too late. Excuse me. But the regrets will not save the person from a lifetime of misery. However, as for the people who would have accepted the truth, which the heavenly books and the prophets of God have been presenting with full satisfaction of the heart in the world, God will be pleased with them, Allah will be pleased with them, and they will be well pleased with the rewards that they receive from the Creator Supreme. And they will be called upon to join the other righteous people of the world in every century and in every era, from the first to the last. All the good people will be gathered together. All the people of Tawheed will be gathered together into paradise, the place of supreme achievement. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.